Right, long time no see. I am back to talk to you about some crazy stuff because
Battery low.
why is battery low when I've just charged you, darling? To be honest, I didn't charge it all the way. Anyways, I've been reading some craziness and I need to talk about it because what the heck? And I don't know if these things are real, right? All of my books so far, they've been about love. And then I finally got into a sadism mechanism. No, that's not the word. Where you just like to be in pain. You like to give pain. You like to receive pain. Obviously, the one who's giving pain is never the one who likes to receive it. I already heard you. The point is that it's actually turned my world upside down because I didn't think that I would feel this way about these types of books. I was trying to stay away from them, but there's one particular that's called Haunting Adeline that I needed to read it because there's too many people talking about it. And then there was one, God of War, God of Pain, whatever, all of those ones. I didn't realize that they were going to be those types of books and I had ordered them and I was like, oh, let me get onto these ones. And then I was like, whoa, yes, darling. Okay, the blue light has gone because it was pissing me off. Anyways, are you ready to talk about some kinky? And it's made me feel all types of ways. And I need to come and talk about it. I need to understand what place it has in life and your life and my life. Like, does it have a place in your life? Are you interested in sadism? Are you interested in, do you know what? Let me just get on with it. So I was thinking yesterday, yeah, like, are these books even like possibly real? Like, is there some handsome man out there who's like really into some kinky and then like he does all these things and he's like really powerful? But is there like such a man out there with like this big penis and then like he's, you know, slapping people around because he likes it and stuff and he's like really rich? Like, is there such things? There's loads of rich people out there, number one. Number two, they don't even need to have a job. So number three, they're going to get bored with their time and then they're going to start looking into things. And of course they're going to end up doing kinky like that because they've got the time, the money and the creativity to just sit there and think of all these weird things to do to people. And so then maybe there are such things. I've never come across them. I've never come across a lot of things. I've not come across these people. Like, where are they? And I don't know if I'll even be interested in them, but I'm just so like, especially if they're handsome, like you're handsome and you're going around slapping people around and you're going like doing what these guys are doing. Like, really, are you doing that? Is there such a thing as that? And I've just like been into, anyways, let me tell you, right? So basically, I'm on the fourth book, right? And the first one was about the psychopath. And then he like apparently has no emotions. But then I read up psychopaths and they actually do have emotions. They just don't have empathy. So they feel things inside of themselves. They just don't have relationship to other people feeling things inside of themselves. Anyway, so then this girl's like contemplating commit suicide and he kind of stops her and then she kind of acts really weird. And he's like, okay, well, I'll let you die then. See you later. And then he like lets her go because he has no feelings. Anyway, and she grabs onto him and then he ends up like basically saying to her, like, if you want to stay alive and if you don't want me to kill you, because I can kill you for you if you want me to, and if you don't want me to do that, you're gonna have to suck my. And he was like, well, you don't have an option, open your mouth. So then he forces her to suck his. Straight away I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why is that interesting? Why? I'll tell you why. Because he's handsome, he has a big and he's handsome. Did I say he's handsome? Anyway, so then she gets like essayed and then she goes home and she starts like, well, she doesn't admit it straight away, but she likes it basically. And then he justifies it in the end of why he did it because he could tell that she liked it. That's book number one. Obviously they end up together and they're in love and they do some kinky together, right? I think it's just that like she likes to be feeling like she's dying while she's like having sexual pleasure. Anyway, so then the second one, he's a sadist. Like he was the one that I fancied the most so far because he was a sadist, yeah. And again, he's sexy with like nice hair and nice eyes, and of course he's got a nice body. And this one, like he's not a talker, so then like he just doesn't talk to people and he just comes across like really quiet. Little do you know, he's a sadist, right? And he's going around to these sex clubs like making slaves out of people. Anyway, so then he ends up making her the slave and then he starts to introduce things that I'm like, I want to try this. Why do I want to try this? But basically he's like, he slaps her vagina. What does it feel like to get your vagina slapped? I don't know. Nobody's ever done that to me before. Oh my God, I'm getting hot. Why am I getting so hot? I need to calm down. Anyway, so then he slaps her vagina. He slaps her boobies. He strangles her a lot. He slaps her bum and then he says he's gonna go in her back hole. And why are you talking about back holes in a sexy way? Because me, I've always been like, that hurts. Why that hurts? And it feels like I need to poo. These women, they like things that are rough. They like things that are just abnormal. So then if it hurts me to go up my bum, oh yeah, go and do it type of thing, right? Obviously these girls are innocent, so they don't talk like that at first. Like they're just all like, oh, I'm so shy. And then these men are like, bang, and into their lives and make them into these sex slaves. This Quiet Creighton from book 2, he's the one that got me the most because I was like, I want him and I want him to try all those things on me. Anyways, and then a third book comes along. She has a fantasy that she doesn't know about it, but he knows, and he does it. And she's like, oh, I like this. That she wants to be chased with fear, like chased. And then she wants to be caught. And then she wants to be effed without her consent. And I was like, And it was the same with the book one. Like, he did things without her consent, and it was just a kink of hers, like, to just do things without my consent. Anyway, so then as I was reading these things, I was like, surely this is like weird. Like, why am I turned on? So then I decided to talk to my son about it. And listen, I know it's weird. Talk to your son. How old's your son? He's 16, right? In England, that's old enough to have sex. Not that he's gonna be doing that anytime soon. Anyway, so then I spoke to him because he has a lot of wise things to say, and he like goes outside of the box, and he's able to really think, right? And he's gonna be able to like help me through this thought process. Anyways, he put a fruit in my head. A fruit in my head? He put a seed. He put a seed in my head of where it came from. And basically, right, I think, if you take a girl and a boy up to the mountain, right, they've both agreed that they're going to bungee jump. When the girl gets up there, she's going to be like, oh no, I don't want to do this. I want to back out. The boy, he's feeling the same fears, but he's going to be like, I'm going to do this. Let's go and do this. She wants to do this. She wants to do this. So if you just push her, which I know a lot of people be like, that's so mean, but whatever. If you push her, she's going to scream, and then she's going to be like, thank you, I really needed that because I wasn't going to do that by myself. Me and my son came up with the conclusion that this is how I think that sex, like back in the day, used to work, because girls were scared and they wanted the sex, but they were too scared of it. So then I think that sex came from a forceful place of like forcing the female to do something that she was scared of, and in the end most of them turned around to it and liked it, and then some of them were like, I hated that you forced me and I hate you. But I think that the fear got in the way of conceiving and reproducing. So then the male had to force her to do it because she was too scared. And I think that maybe if that's the truth and that's what we came from, which I think it is because my son kind of agreed with me, is that we have it in our DNA that that's the process and that's the process. And so then if you're scared and then he's already forced you once and you liked it, right? Then you've got it in you that you can't wait for him to force you again. And again, you can't ask because you're too scared. And if you ask, you're going to get scared again. So then he has to keep forcing you for you to get what you want. And I've had this, I wanted something and I didn't want to ask for it. And then also when he went to give it to me, I wanted to play hard to get. And it was this natural thing in me. It wasn't even my brain telling me, Nayna, play hard to get. It was this thing. My dog does it as well. And she's a female. She does it. When I go to stroke her, she runs away. And then when I walk away, she comes after me. It's like this female thing. I don't know what it is. So then he comes to give it to me. I'm like, oh no, I don't want it, but I do. And he knows, if he's clever, he knows that I do. So that he's going to push past my no, and then do it, right? Because he knows that that's what I want. The problem is that there's a fine line. It only happens when you're attracted to the guy, because then you do want him to do what you're telling him that you don't want him to do. You do want it, but sometimes you don't want it. And then that's when it becomes rape. So then it's such a fine line and it is confusing. But I don't know, we need to work that out. And this is what I mean about these books. There's no ugly guy in it. And if this unattractive guy tries to like have sex with me, no. And I don't want you to do that. The point is that I think it comes from the DNA of why we like to be forced. I think that a lot of females nowadays, the ones that are complaining about being forced to do things, I think there is like different coins and different sides, because I explained the one that I just explained here, but then there is also this other thing where you're not really in the mood and you're not really feeling it, but then he's pushy that you end up like going, oh fine, and then like you just give in, and then it starts to like build up, so then you kind of get pressured into it even though you didn't want to do it. But there is the other one that I said where you secretly do want to do it and you want him to do it, but then you can't help but playing like hard to get, like, oh, get off me, when really you don't want him to get off you. So I think that there are different people experiencing different things, and unfortunately you need emotional intelligence to know which one it is. And I don't know if the male is very high on the emotional intelligence, but I also think that there's definitely maturity and immaturity, because at my age now I wouldn't play those types of games. Like, I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and maybe that's why like the men who get confused, that's why they like older people, older women, is because they don't want to be confused. And the older woman is not going to confuse you. Like, she's not going to tell you no if it's yes, she's not going to tell you yes if it's no, she's going to tell you the correct answer. So I think that it is like a maturity thing to not be able to just take what you want and have what you want and get what you want. And also it's lack of education, because I think I've taught myself to move through my fear, talk through my fear, and to act through my fear. And I think that a lot of females, especially when they're young, they've not had the right education to move through their fear. And I think with training, like with everything else, you're going to be able to do the thing. And we're not training the females to move through their fear. We're actually just leaving them talking amongst themselves, taking care of the house and the children, and we're not really trying to move and evolve the human race. How do we evolve the female and the male so then we're not confused and we're not having to rate and not know if we want it or we don't want it. And even me saying that nowadays, it's like, Nayna, how dare you say that rape is wanted? It's never wanted. Let's get rid of that conversation altogether. Yet, look at these books being written and these kinks of people and who God knows what. Anyway, so it just got me thinking, yeah, does like everybody have like a little kink? Like, because like me, for example, I think that I don't want the extreme end of it. Because these guys, yes, they slap the vagina, but they slap it hard. Yes, they do this, but they do it hard. And then like when they go up the bum, for example, and this is so, I don't know why it's so attractive, yeah, but I don't think I want it done to me. And maybe I do, who knows? Like, for example, she was a virgin and he rammed it up there. He didn't take his time. He didn't go slowly. He, in one go, I was like, whoa. As an older woman, I know what that means. You cheeky boy. As a younger woman, do I know what that means? No. And maybe I'm attracted to cheekiness. So as an older woman, you doing that is going to turn me on because it's like, you're so cheeky. But as a younger woman, that's just going to be hurting me. So then these books are filled with like over the top hurting. And I don't think I'm like into the over the top hurting. Like, if you're going to slap my vagina, you know, slap it. Don't bang it. And I think that these people are like kind of doing the extreme. And so then it makes me think, like, is there room in the world? And of course there is, because why are we even talking about this? But is there room in the world for us to tone these things down and have like a real appetite for different things in sexuality that we never thought of before? Like, I've never thought of somebody slapping my vagina before, and now do you want to tap it? No, oh my gosh, that just sounds, I'm so sorry. The point is that I think that there's room for improvement in sexuality and for different flavors. And the one that I'm reading now, he's another psychopath, but he's like really like effed up in his head. And he's like introducing it in such a different, he's the most effed up in his head, but he's the one that's introducing it in such a like softer way for my mind, where it's like, you know, we could do a little bit of it and a little bit of it. And then so then and he introduced the word flavors. You know, do we have these flavors? And does everybody have a bit of a kink, you know? Because I remember one time I had a boyfriend and I said to him, I want to rub your thing with my feet. And I don't know. And I have this thing, obviously, with penises that I think that they're very like attractive and also just squishy, and I want to squish them. And so then I want my feet to touch it. So then I said to him, can I do that? And he said, yeah, go on. And I did. And I think that it stayed in his head for years. Anyway, so then I think that we have these things, these interests, and then they're labeled things like, oh, abnormal. And it's like, is it abnormal though? Or are we just like so, and they use the word vanilla, but I don't even think it's vanilla. I think it's just not enough discussion, not enough exposure and experimentation and education. Because is there a universal pleasure in slapping the vagina? Is there a universal pleasure in slapping the bum cheek? Because I certainly have that outside of sexuality. I love to slap bum cheeks. Why do I sound like a weirdo today? I like to slap bum cheeks. What? Moving into sexuality, is there a place for everybody to have like a kink here or there that makes sex more exciting, and it makes exchanging sexual pleasure more exciting? And of course there is. And these books, even though they're over the top, they're starting to awaken my brain. Like, I remember I did a video about deep throating, and I remember I was getting really angry about it. Like, are you trying to disrespect me by effing my mouth? And these books, they paint it in a more of a sexy way of like, I take my pleasure and you are mine to please myself with. And I have the same thoughts of, I'll make you into my slave. I will take my pleasure from you. I will use you. I will use your mouth to please myself. If you're in a healthy state of brain, if somebody was to use you, it wouldn't degrade me. And actually it will make me feel, especially because these books, they're in love with the girl, right? And they get in there in their head that they're realizing that they're in love with the girl and no other mouth is good enough. So then if you want to use my mouth and you love me, of course that's going to turn me on. And it turns me on anyway. Like, even if I don't love you, like, and you're using yourself on me, like, it's going to turn me on. And why is that? Or if you have the kink of like watching somebody and they don't know that you're watching them and it like turns you on and stuff like that, like, there's so much room for kinks to be just more flavor. And it doesn't even have to be a kink, it's just more flavor. And why? And so then if we had a better sex education, then we would probably understand why. Like, why is it that if I watch somebody having sex and they don't know I'm watching them, why does that turn me on? Why does that tingle me? If I'm reading about this guy like deep throating somebody and he's like proper doing it hard and he's doing it hard like with no regard for how she feels, and she's like, they're choking. Like, why did that turn me on? And why is that sexy? And I could imagine he's in front of her and he's just taking advantage of her mouth. Like, why is that so sexy? And it is sexy. So I think it is because of so much connected to it, like confidence, taking what you want, acting on yourself, not being scared. You know, all of these things are attractive outside of sexuality. So then if you then introduce them into sexuality, then I guess it's still attractive, but now you're using sexuality. So I guess it is about just like what you find attractive, and it is that universal in some way. I have like quickly 2 points to talk about really before I close this video, because like the first is that, you know, the extreme of things, because these guys, especially the psychopath ones, yeah, they're so bored. They're so bored. And I feel the same way. Like I walk down the street, like this is kind of like just dumb. And I wake up in the middle of the night. If I've not self-medicated myself, I wake up in the middle of the night with an attack of like how stupid it is to be a human, and how stupid that I'm waking up in a brain. Like I do have that difficulty, but if I'm self-medicating, it quiets down. So I know what it feels like to be absolutely bored of life. But for some reason, I have this empathy in me. I don't want to hurt people. I think it's like so horrible to hurt people, unless of course it's the playful hurt where it's like, let me slap your face, or let me do something that's playful, that's not like and I think that these books, they take it there. And maybe it's because they don't know, there's not enough help of how do you control such a bored brain. And if you're so bored and you're so gone and without any help, then I could imagine that you need to fulfill it by doing these extreme things, because you're not guiding yourself in a way of having a relationship with all things. You're just only having a relationship with yourself, and I think that that's a problem. And also sometimes these things are like relived on a brain that's not helped enough, and it's not healed, and it's not gone down the right path. So then it does want to impact people in a negative way, and it does want to hurt people the way that they feel hurt. They want to hurt people. So it is like a spiteful thing rather than a playful thing. These books, though they are extreme, you could see the playfulness inside of them, and how it's like it is for pleasure and for entertainment of pleasure, not for entertainment of spitefulness. And maybe that's where the extreme is. It's like spitefulness rather than pleasure and playfulness. So then the last point I was going to make is that I was watching this podcast, and these girls, that they are from that world, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're from the, but they weren't inspiring me. They were like almost whorish, right? Coming across as if that they're just like a whore, and they don't really care for monogamous relationships. They actually do want a partner. You know, it's impossible to find a partner because men, they don't want to settle down. So then it's like they're almost molding themselves into this woman just so then they could feel better about themselves, rather than it just being like about me. You know what? It's fine that you want to find people attractive and you want to please them and you want them to please you. It's fine. I want these men to be real. I want to find them. I want to experience sex with them and I want to fall in love with them, and I want them to fall in love with me, and I want all of this, right? So no, I don't think that it's wrong for you to want that, but I do think that the world is full of crap. So then the whole world has done these things and they've become worse off. So then yes, these women who live these lifestyles trying to impress these men and also have sexual pleasure, yes, they are in circles of men who are not the kindness or who are not trying to be monogamous, and so then they do get their heart broken still, but the whole world is doing it anyway. So then what I'm saying, I'm just going around in circles here, what I'm saying is that I didn't like that picture of it, because for me, in my brain, these women are worth diamonds. Yeah, these men, they agree that these women are worth diamonds. So then, I've never used that term before, but I'm using it here. Hello there. They're so in love with these women and they're so jealous. Nobody else can even touch them, especially Creighton. If they even went to go like that towards her, like he would just hit the hand away, like don't touch. And they're so like protective, and that's like very attractive. And so then I don't like that these women that I was watching in a podcast, like they came across as if they were just a toy. And that's not how I see it. That's not how I see myself. And also, that's not how I want to see my partner. Yes, I have those thoughts, just like use you. But no, I want to have feelings for the toy. I want to care for the toy. I want to be obsessed with the toy. And the toy is like, all I think about is the toy. Like, yes, I want to have that relationship with the toy, even if you are a toy. And these women, they're just a toy that gets flung around and that they just get put aside and it doesn't really matter. They don't really matter. And so then, no, I don't like that. And they are subscribing to that. So then they're continuing to make themselves available in that space, even though they are being flung around as a toy that nobody cares about. And that's what I don't agree with. Like, yes, I want to play. Yes, I want to have kinks. Yes, I want to do all of these things, but you must be obsessed with me. Otherwise, you're not playing with me. And I don't think that standard is being used in all places. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this kink video. And, I had no reason to do this video apart from chit-chatting away about, these books. And so then, if you're interested in to get into these books, it's called the God Legacy books, are they called? I don't know. This is book 5. I haven't read it yet. Legacy of Gods series. And there's 6 books altogether. So if you're interested in doing that, go and pick that series up. And then I'll be back to talk to you about the Adeline one, the Haunting Adeline one, because I heard that that's even way worse. So I'm excited to see what's in there and to see if I'm repulsed by it or if I'm secretly starting to feel attracted to it like I'm doing with these weird books. Right, I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.